So did you actually end up getting my emails about Dr. Cog?
Oh,
Dr. Cog, you're my alternate.
what? I saw alternate, yeah, I know I'm alternate, but no, I didn't get any emails.
Okay. Okay,
Do I need to show up?
I missed last week's meeting, and I'm gonna end up missing the next two. The work session is the first Wednesday of the month, and the regular board meeting will be the third Wednesday.
Send me the stuff. I don't know, maybe I should. Like, you guys, emails. So, 'cause sometimes our system will filter
Okay,
emails.
I sent it to the Selectmen email.
No, Broncos.
Okay.
What's that?
Hello, how are ya?
Good, thanks.
Good.
Because you're part of the
Well,
town,
my coat.
like town, email, and your personal.
I haven't.
This is Hadley.
That's why I'm trying to.
Right, and whatever that email address is, they're subject to. Long and
They're only the one that I get information, which is the Broncos.
Hello.
So.
I did.
Yeah. Dr. Cog needs to have them set up to get the regular notices to. And I don't know if they were.
My email is stuck in my email address.
Sorry?
I think you were for that.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I always just send stuff to your personal.
You always send stuff to my Broncos.
Yeah. Cause I'm not looking on one of the last agenda. Like, which is why I send it to you.
I'll double check that.
Okay.
Have to look like all the Zoom stuff and all that, remember?
Cause I know in the beginning, anything that I sent to Broncos one was returned, yeah, it was blocked.
Right, but I had to talk to them at the office, so they keep getting people changes, like, oh,
Really?
Do you get the agenda packets and stuff?
no, I just.
You don't get them electronically in your email? Okay, I'll check that. I'll make sure that you.
Well, that's a couple of things, but I can follow up on the next week, try and roll this. We're going to reach that. And that's one down there.
Right, they had started doing the regular board meetings, the Wednesday meeting, in person again, and then for the last week, they switched it back to virtual, so.
It'll be good education.
So, and the work session one on the first Wednesday.
That's the answer.
64 and 2.
42.
Oh, 46.
4 o'clock, and the regular one is 6:30.
Was that according to Tesla?
No, that's according to truckers' guidance.
Ah.
Email account.
And it probably really is, right? 4 plus 2 is 6.
I'm about but I can
Remember that band? 42 from the 80s?
No.
I was,
It's her birthday today. So I thought but she, I'm glad
Hello.
Can I, have your name?
And Jack. Sorry, there now.
I know, that's what I said.
Double
It's
Yeah, sure.
That would break my heart.
Ryan is here.
I'll make it. We'll cut it off. I think we're going ahead and start.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you're recording.
Yes.
Okay, very good. All right, it is 6:00 PM on Tuesday, June 28th, 2022. And this is a regular meeting of the Town of Georgetown Board of Selectmen. Let's start off with the pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, I am Lynette Chelsea, Police Judge. Rob Connell will not be joining us tonight. Leanne Powell,
Is not on, but I know she's gonna appear by Zoom.
keep an eye out.
Okay.
John Jennings.
Here.
Paul Hinton,
Here.
Mary Smith, here, and Rich Barrows.
Here.
Thank you. Audience business, members of the audience have 5 minutes to, agenda approval, I just went right with it first. I had all kinds of notes and just took them further. Okay, I had 2 things, well, we've got 3 things to add that I know of. One is an action item, which you've got in front of you, the 22nd Street Bridge approaches. There's a quote from Buckley LLC. And then I've got 2 things to add under staff items. I attended the GROC conference. It's an opioid group, I guess. It's a regional cooperative partnership. And I'll give a little report on that. And then just to update you on the status of the letter of intent that we submitted to Freeport North McMoran for the mill site housing project. Yeah. Anybody have anything else? Okay.
I make a motion to approve the agenda with the addition.
Seconded.
Been moved and seconded to approve the agenda with the 3 additions that have been noted. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
And now audience business. Members of the audience have 5 minutes to present any matter of interest not already on the agenda. Are you here for audience business?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Good evening, my name is Jack Arvis, my partner Peter Sally. We have put under contract with Georgetown Lodge. We're here tonight in a work session that we're set up at the end of the regular meeting here. And I wanted to talk to you very briefly on what we're hoping to achieve in this meeting and answer any questions. Our intentions for the Georgetown Lodge are to convert and repurpose that building from its existing use as a hotel into permanent workforce housing to serve the community of Georgetown and the surrounding area, specifically to service workers, those that are not earning enough money to afford it. It's a well-known problem. In Georgetown, also the 2016 comp plan for the town of Georgetown, also the local access in many ways to serve this what's referred to as a key strategy to provide workforce housing in Georgetown. We have a plan in place, and that plan will bring affordable, attainable housing to Georgetown in months rather than years. We think it's a win-win for the town. We've done it in other mountain communities for about a couple of weeks, I think, in Durango. Very similar, a 1960s hotel, 140 units, and it is our hope that we can discuss this with the Board of Selectmen, go through whatever processes is necessary to either rezone in conjunction with the town's lands or anyone else who's in the district, the commercial district. And we've been here once before in another venue. It's probably a little premature, but we're well developed in our plans, and we're here to answer the questions should they come up.
First time I'm going to say that you did a good job. I don't know what you said. Yeah, I think it's concise and perfect. Just to add quickly, the Durango project was really well received. I think our anticipated rent is probably higher there because the location, the size of the town. But the whole project has been a brilliant success with regards to all the stakeholders that were involved with it. Beautification of the building, fit the town. They were instrumental in that. And as a project, I would say, like, truly in everything that in my career that we've done, I can sit back and say I'm proud of it at the end of the day, because it wasn't like something it was something for everybody and a great win. And a lot of my development projects have been like that. So I really feel this is one of those opportunities where all the stakeholders, the employees, the business owners, the towns, and the developer, we can collaborate and make this happen. There's a serious crisis going on, and there's an affordable way to do it. We can get it online quickly, and I think we have a solution, but that's life. So I know we can't speak at the afternoon work session, so we appreciate, truly appreciate the time to be able to just at least put a face, history, piece of paper, verbally, so you find this to gather guys that are passionate about what we do. See if we'll find join hands and say, hey, at the end of the day, we did this together, this is awesome. Thank you for your time.
All right. Seeing no one else, we will move on. Next, we have the payables. And the payables in front of us tonight are from June 10th through June 23rd, 2022. Any questions or comments on the tables?
I have a question. Just you, under police department, maintenance of vehicles, here in the county of Boston, page one, $900 for detail. That's a lot of money.
That was for two, excuse me, two vehicles. And one had not been, actually, from what I understand, I don't know, but had not been taken care of very well as far as keeping clean and stuff in it. The other one, I know the Charger had some paint conditioning done to it because it had sat out in the sun and there were issues. But that's all I know.
So it's one of our trucks and
It was one truck and the Charger.
I have a question about the town of Empire gas. So,
Okay, so Empire was ordering a bunch of bulletproof vests where they got a better price and we had Paul coming on. So they ordered one for Paul and then we just reimbursed them for it at a much lower price.
Paul, did you have any more questions?
I just said that that's a lot of money. I used to be in cars, I get car detail for 2 months, so. I'm not good at getting in cars myself. Inflation these days.
It was dirty, it was really
It had to
dirty,
be,
okay?
it had to be.
That's why it's called down and dirty.
All right, any other questions on the tables? Would anybody like to make a motion?
I moved to accept the table of the 2022.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the tables from June 10th through June 23rd, 2022 as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Paul, did you make the second?
Yes, he
Yes.
does.
Okay, thank you.
Good catch. Next, we have the minutes of our last meeting, which was on June 14th. Any comments or questions on those minutes? If not, would somebody like to make a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second. John.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen on June 14th, 2022 as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, we have our first agenda item, which is resolution number WWE 2, series 2022, water and sewer annual increases. I'm going to turn that over to.
And does everybody notice real quick, there's a new action item form for this topic that was placed on top? Thanks.
And I just noticed a typo in that action item. Still, under the recommended motion, it says WW1, it should be WW2.
Got it.
So, sorry. Ryan and I, last meeting, presented some options for increases, because of the rising costs this year with maintenance costs and, chemicals and things, you know, they're charging, fuel charges to deliver. So,
we presented two other options, an increase over and above the scheduled increase, an additional 1% and an additional 1.5. Brian and I looked at things. We have the loan schedules that we still have out, and we both agree that the additional 1% should get us through this, and hopefully things will subside after gas prices hopefully go down. But I included that spreadsheet in this packet, as well as the water and sewer loan detail that was asked for at the last meeting. You'll notice at the bottom of the action item form, Mary had requested that we include what the scheduled increases inflation rate was, and it is 4.553. I just put it under attachments rather than include a separate piece of paper stating such. I don't know if anybody has any questions, or if Ryan's got any more input.
I guess I don't know what you put in their packet.
You don't have
Here.
to see what.
What you guys. Sorry, Ryan. Sure. I know you wanted us to go back and look at the sunset of the loans that we were going through and do. Some of the big ones we were both surprised, and one we're paying off this year, it's a water rights one. Biosolves is in 6 more years, and both the water and sewer plant upgrades in 09, time flies, they're coming due in the next 7 years or 8 years. Those come to like a combined $350,000. It's a good chunk that we're paying on that on an annual basis. And so we're coming to the end of those that we were surprised that the dam is the one that's gonna take over. So I guess we both agree, I know we're not pushing 1.5 and we can go more.
Yeah, my concern that I expressed at the last meeting was to make sure that not just the loans were covered and the increased expenses, but also the reserves that we're required to build up.
And we have, so we are in a really good position at this point. To, I think one is, over $1 million. The other one is at 700,000. So they're pretty healthy at this point. Granted, those aren't going to build 2 plants, but that is enough to really get going in the right direction once, you know, the loans are able to start a little bit more behind it. It's kind of the 1% cover it. $2.5, 1 point. What's the revenue? 2.9.
2.91 on water and 2.67% on sewer.
1% above. Would be our recommendation. And a small side note, we are filling the reservoir this week. We got all our regular water, and we have storage rates, and so the little item though might be disappearing.
Okay.
So we're filling the reservoir up this week.
Okay.
So just a little side note on that. So we have storage from the dredging and all that we were able to take that down.
Great.
And then it's coffee.
Well, normally don't have the room and we have to give it to Gordon to store for us, and they charge us, 1 for 1. So instead of, let's say, 25 acre feet, we only get 12 and a half. So that's a big wins.
Okay. Any questions for Mary or Ryan?
Comfortable with this, what we discussed this meeting and last meeting. Seems like we're under control, if you guys are out, comfortable with 1%, I'm certainly there. Okay. Move to approve resolution WW2 series 2022, a resolution of the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Georgetown, Colorado, approving the fee schedule for water and sewer fees. The 2022 increase is going to be,
Well,
it's going to be 3.919 for the water, and sewer is going to be 3.67%.
Second.
been moved and seconded to approve resolution number WW2 series 2022. A resolution of the Board of Selectmen for the Town of Georgetown, Colorado, approving the fee schedule for water and sewer fees. The 2022 increase is 3.91. Percent for the water and 3.67% for sewer. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
I'm opposed.
Okay, thank you, Dan.
Sorry for being late. I couldn't get the computer to work. Sorry.
Okay. Didn't see you come on, so. All right. Next, we have committee appointments for the town administrator, Rick Colombian. And what? I'm gonna let you, I mean, what we ended up doing after Kent had left, and since Steve Robbie was just our interim administrator, we didn't lay all kinds of committee appointments on him. So we kind of divvied up what Kent had been covering for us, and those were the Farmers Highline Canal Proxy, the I-70 Coalition, all I-70 matters, and then what also had been covered by Kent was representing the town at CML, Colorado Municipal League. So, okay, are you fine with all the others, or was there anything else you wanted to?
Personally, what we find difference, I thought me and Jen talked about also being an alternate on the Upper Creek Water Center Association.
Okay,
Is Carl, is my alternate on that, I represent us at that, and I didn't know if you wanted to.
We have Rob Connell as the alternate and Carl's the second alternate. And you're the main.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm fine. Oh.
okay, okay.
Places, all right, I like, we have two.
No, so Rick's gonna be the primary. Right. On the Farmers Highline, and he will be alternate on all of the I-70 groups. Taking my place, yeah. And then step back into the role of representing us at CNL.
which is not on the sheet, but we'll add it.
So, would anybody like to make a motion to approve that?
Well, I'll make that motion.
Okay,
I'll second.
it's been moved and seconded.
You didn't have to read more either.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Rick Corollian, our town administrator, into all of the positions that we just listed. Any, all in favor, say aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay. Thank you. And, Deanne, since you just tuned in, we had added a third action item, which was the 22nd Street Bridge approaches. I'm gonna have Rick describe it.
Okay, so, this came to us, sometime today, I guess it was this morning, and we took some time to review it. Kevin Buckley has Buckley LLC, who's been doing our bridges. We accepted him as our contractor, and it allows him to present bids and everything and quotes for us for some of these things. The approaches have been brought to my attention multiple times, especially down here. And it's a priority for us because it is important that we get these done. It's a hazard, and it's really important because of our ADA as well. We don't want someone to fall in off the sides. So we've asked Kevin, I want to say a month ago, to review these, maybe longer, but he gave us a quote. The quote would be for 4 approaches on both sides of each side of the bridge. And so the price he gave us was $14,000. So that is what we're wanting to move forward and go ahead and start this work as soon as possible.
Since she doesn't have it in front of her, do you want to read the notes that you did?
Yes, and so on the quote, this is for Deanne, this includes forming and pouring the concrete for all 4 approaches. It excludes any permits or fees of any kind. It excludes surveying or any foreseen conditions that may be out of control, including but not limited to weather, dewatering, material delays caused by others will be subject to extra costs. So he's asking for a 20% down, before he starts the project, and then invoice 10 billing first to the 15th of each month. So, questions?
Put somewhere in the contract is to be 88. Just 'cause it looks like it's kind of tricky spots.
So, yeah.
So, just so it's steep.
We have a timeline on this? Once we put 40% down. Sorry. So,
And let's also have a not to exceed verbiage in there.
So what about a railway?
Need a rail. It's really steep.
Especially if it's,
and if I'm on one side,
especially
it's
if
dropped.
it's ADA.
Yeah.
There's gonna have to be a railway, so that's. Is
That
that,
will exceed 14,000.
would that even, can that even be included, or would he even include a railing, or is that somebody else?
He can include a railing, but that wasn't part of what he
Right.
submitted. So we would, like you just mentioned, I took out the verbiage, not to include his conditions that he put, permits, whatever special things.
What I was talking about was his bid figure,
Oh, I see.
which should be not, and our motion should be not to exceed $14,000. Well,
Right.
Well, if you're pouring concrete, don't you put
You know, just want to result bigger enough in board.
board? And
So-
I mean, I think you could probably handle that additional work as an amendment, couldn't you? With getting to bid it separately.
And then it's gonna be a low cost, which will probably cover under my discussion. Right, so I wouldn't have to bring it back.
So I'm not an engineer, but my colleague here is, who also happens to live in 22nd Street. To me, in my uneducated, non-engineering position, it's much more than just pouring concrete for that. There needs to be some backfill.
Right on the one is,
Right,
it's just.
so how, and then does that affect any, I'm going worst case scenario here, right? Now all of a sudden, the rocks all over. How do we take care of that? Because that's not part of this bid either. I mean, I'm thrilled that we're moving forward on this, but I don't think this is the whole job. And this is the same thing that bid us when we bid, not bid. When we started to put this bridge together, we didn't have the whole project
Thought through and
right.
itemized.
So,
Yeah, because on that one side, it seems there should be some sort of team structure or, you know what I'm talking about, because, and it's already having erosion, so you put concrete in there, water finds a way underneath around and will.
or the slab will start to cave in another couple of years with the too much weight because of the snow or whatever. Or some kid jumping on it and it's been concrete.
Large rocks, some large rocks.
I'm for this, I think we need to put some more thought into this whole project before we even approve this. And $14,000 is a deal,
Is it
but,
good safety, then let's.
yeah, let's do the job, right?
All those things covered.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if I remember correctly, he does have an engineer on staff who is familiar with bridges and concrete work, but that's not really specified in this bid.
I agree. We take a look at it with our, our intentions are clear.
I took notes.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Is this in our budget or is this an additional cost?
So it falls, it's in our budget for road improvements. And so I know we have the capital improvement 5-year budget, and that is really a slice of that comes out. So it's not an additional, that 75,000. It's just carving out what we had planned to spend for improvements on roads, not on roads. This was coming out of that.
Maybe we can get a detail, if you have an engineer of how they're, like, material on the railing, how high it's gonna be, and that, or places where there's possible erosion, how they're gonna handle it.
Well, just to give you a little feedback, I did meet with them earlier and we discussed that. One side is much deeper, and what was the plan? And his plan was to bring the rocks in and form concrete around, including on the rocks. What I'll do is ask him to submit a report explaining exactly the detail of what he's going to do, so that we would see the erosion control method in that. So it was.
So are they gonna do a wood railing, metal railing? And that probably wasn't discussed.
It wasn't discussed. Yeah. So we'll bring it back.
Okay.
So here's the position.
Okay. All right, on to staff items. Strauss Park update report, did you have one?
They are going to be submitting a report for the booths that's coming up, and I will give Jen and Catherine to be in that discussion, so that we're thinking through even the maintenance part of that, of how we do this. Catherine has brought up several things that she wished that she was involved from the beginning with the bathrooms, because they were key components left out. And so we are going to make sure that those are, it'll be a little bit more involved in even looking at some of the costs. So I think that was some things that were, not projected into that film. And so that's coming up next. We have submitted and asked for Triangle Electric to give us quotes to put the remaining items that are left off into the bathrooms, so they should be finished. And they will be sending that to us in about groups up today.
Have they resolved the foundation issues? Matt, you don't need to recite that, but, because that was part of the next steps too, is for the.
Bob told me that he received revised plans.
So he had said that as
Yeah.
well to me.
When he submitted building permit application and drawings, and that Safe Build is doing a plan review right now, yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, next in your packet, you've got information on family and medical leave insurance program.
Mary, would you like to speak on that?
Well, I'm not really familiar with it because I just started getting information before it was going to be administered. So it is a 12-week program for time off for family leave where the employee pays 0.9% of their wages and the town matches 0.45. And it goes into a pool. The way I understand it, it's similar to FNI benefits, although it's funded by this pool. I included all the information that I could gather on it because municipalities can opt out of it if you don't want to participate, but it's something we need to start looking at because you need to opt out before January of the information as I can gather it or as I receive it, I can update you. That's about all I have. I don't know if Rick knows any more about it, and yeah, I do.
So if we opt in and employees are participating, the town is participating, it's a new program, just getting off the ground, are we? And an employee chooses to take advantage of this benefit, but it's not funded enough to cover that, then is there a bigger umbrella on this?
I don't think funding starts till 2024. So they have a year of collecting these premiums. And then, if someone opts to use it and we are part of the program, they couldn't start anything until the following year anyway. So therefore, the funding should be there.
So if we opt in as a town, does each individual employee have the option to opt in, or is
No.
it then, so it's all or
It's
all or none?
right, it's a municipality that can opt in or out.
Okay, so, got it.
Like I said, as I get more information, I'll forward it on, but
Or the employees already have Family Leave Act, or and this is a different.
we are not required, but we do offer FMLA. So,
But that's not a financial thing, that's just holding your position open for them to.
no, we're paying their benefits. If they have been here, I believe, over 12 months, we pay their benefits when they are on FMLA.
benefits, but not any salary.
No
I mean,
salary.
they're taking.
Correct.
So, but doesn't this compensate,
It's a salary.
Salary. so this bumps that up if you are.
Sure, if you opt in.
Okay,
Correct. I mean, from my standpoint, it looks like when we start talking budget for next year, we're gonna need to get figures on how much this would actually cost if we don't opt out. Because if you don't take the action of opting out, you're assumed to be out in the program.
Correct.
So,
Jerry might have more information than I do, because I,
My other clients are looking at this hard. City Research last night actually ordered to have their own program instead of the family program, which you can do. Therefore, opt out and provide benefits to employees that, from that city's perspective, was more affordable and able, easier for the city to fund than the funding component that is laid on the mandatory family. Family program, all employees contribute and the city contributes. Whether or not there are claims, you're part of the pool now. And that's why, that's a good question. But there will be money there. But funding into a statewide pool as opposed to your own separate program, for your society for good reasons. They ran a lot of numbers that it made more sense to them to design a program that the city could support, that was supported for the city and employees. Here, the real issue here is budget, and we're running kind of alternative scenarios, and you can completely opt out, and that's fine. Cities aren't required to participate, but the employees don't get that kind of benefits others do. There is an option for employees to pay into the program, but not to the city. That's sort of the third door. And different cities are approaching it differently. I think to vastly summarize, I think in small communities, it's harder, I think, for them to find the money locally to be able to opt out and have their own program. But really it's a matter of running their own budget numbers. What I can certainly do is provide some of the analysis that others have done for Marion. We can just kind of mirror that, switch out the budget numbers to say, okay, if this were to apply here, let's plug in our number, see what the net effect is. A family program, if you just stay in, does mean that employees are contributing always, and the city's contributing always. And you may or may not actually have a loss experience, the claims experience that uses all the money you put in because it's a pool. And that's the consideration. I'll provide mirror some of the analysis and we can switch it out to
Great.
and you can make more of an informed decision.
Very good. Auditor, request for an RFP. And we would be, I thought, do we not need to do this as an action item?
We can do this next time.
Okay. If we don't need to, when we've talked about, for years, we've talked about putting an RFP out for a new auditor. And we're just waiting now because our draft audit hasn't arrived yet, right?
may I update you from this afternoon?
Yes, please.
Finally, I emailed him this morning, he got back with me this afternoon, he said, I'm working on it right now, I'll have it to you in the morning. Now, he is required to have it to us by June 30th. It is required to be to the state auditor by July 31st. So that gives me I mean, I feel like we need to go through it with fine tooth comb at this point, because I believe he's had the information since April. But I'll see if I get it in the morning, and then I'll start going through it, and I'll have it for your approval, the draft for your approval on the next, regular meeting, so we can get it into the
Well, he's
state.
required by law to have it to us by Thursday.
Right,
Okay,
so
so he's got 2 days.
I don't know, I told him, I said, you know, it's been 2 weeks since I've heard from you. And,
Okay.
oh, I'll have it to you in the morning.
Okay. So, if we don't need to, if the board doesn't actually need to approve putting an RFP out, then when the timing is right, as soon as that arrives, yeah. Go ahead and, is that good with everybody? Okay. Okay. And then we have the town administrator's report and task list updates.
So you guys have seen my task list and administrative report. The big thing that I'll be working on, well, two things I'll be working on a lot this week and next week is salary survey study to present to you soon, hopefully within 30 days is my goal to get that done. And I'm pretty close right now. I just have to reach out to several other municipalities to get figures that are not listed in CML. Their listserv. Second is an RFP with Cindy Neely with the grant that we received. That's that almost $1 million grant. And that RFP needs to be done and it's presented to CDOT so that they can approve it before we move forward to the public. So there's a lot of pressure. It's probably the most important thing that I can work with right now. I have found some templates, so that should help. We'll see with that. And just updates just to the staff. We had a staff meeting this morning, so I'll give you some updates. Ryan is here, but he's kind of currently working on jetting from 2nd Street to 6th Street. So if you hear from your constituents, Roger Waters Brown, there, it's only temporary. Question is about, so please keep that in mind. We would like to move forward in building a shed and garage so that Ryan can store our equipment and his, jetting equipment, so forth, backhoe and all that, down by the water plants. He's wanting kind of 2 to 3 garage bay doors on that so that we can use it. It's really just for storage, or it's not going to be like using it inside to work, but it's just to house our equipment so that equipment lasts longer. Scooter is desperately needing a position to be filled, so that's another thing that I'll be working on, getting a job post and trying, because we've got the bollards that need to be put in and there's not anyone else that can help them, so we need somebody to help. Ruben's got experience with that. He's doing sweeping right now, street sweeping. They're gonna be going through Christmas inventory to see what is lacking for us to purchase. Instead of, because we're not gonna be using the company to decorate the town. We have most of the stuff, but something's going to be replaced. It's gonna be a fraction of the cost and it'll last a lot longer. Jen Jordan has been working heavily on 4th of July stuff and getting ready for having volunteers and so forth. The SUP half marathon went really well. The attendance was a little bit, I'm sorry, the slacker is running. The slacker, the attendance was a little bit lower than what we had in the past, but it seemed to go off well. Even Raymond said it was good. We had to make a couple of adjustments for sidewalk controls, so everybody could work fine. Jen's gonna be doing a Christmas inventory tomorrow morning with the Scooter, so they're gonna see what that is. Randy is getting Paul trained, and that's going well. And the investigation about the taser shooting is ongoing, and that may take years, but that's ongoing. And Kevin is, we are moving forward with a part-time person to help Kevin. So he can do, we can, well, make sure that flowers, mowing, bathrooms and trash are taken care of. It's a lot to put on one person, so that's gonna help us out. So that's with staff. Does anyone have questions for any projects that I'm currently working on? Well, I was out of town all last week, so the report was more simple than normal, but I have closed the house out in Brush, moved all our stuff, packed and moved all our stuff to Empire. Because we reserved 2 units, but we packed everything in 1 unit, so it's impossible to find anything to stack the ceiling. We will be making an offer on a house. Well, we did make an offer, it was accepted, and now we're working with people. There's a lot of stuff, so exciting, and my wife got a job today, so. Everything is doing great. Yes.
Excellent.
I'll add a side note on that jetting that we're doing. On some of the gravel roads around town, that they're probably below grade. So we're going to probably be digging some of those up and track the rates also. So there might be some road work on, once we're down 6, no, they're all up to grade, but like over where we're seeing some on Second, Third Street there, below grade, pretty good. That risers bring up to good. So we might have some big potholes while we're fixing that. But I want to let you know that the side effects sometimes will be the losses. That is part of the side effect.
You're talking about potholes, that's why.
So, we can't hide this thing.
I would say follow the water,
Yeah.
So, as you may have seen in, Rick's task list, the letter of intent that we sent off to Freeport McMoran was approved. So we get to move on to the next stage of actually submitting a grant. So probably next meeting, we'll need to get board approval for submitting that grant before you put a lot of work into it, just to make sure we're all in agreement.
We sat in a meeting today, both of them that night. It's gonna be a social impact forecast, which is a report. And it's almost like a giant logic model. You ever seen those where it tells you exactly what your goals, what your objectives, what your intentions are, and what your outcomes. And so it kind of shows you exactly of accountability, what you're gonna do. And so that's a lot of work that we'll have to do. Sally Rush will be helping us with these as well from the county.
Okay. So you will hear more on that as we know more. And then I wanted to give you a brief update on the conference I went to last week. Colorado's been divided into regions for this opioid settlement money divvying up distribution. The state is getting somewhere in the neighborhood of 400 million is what I recall. And as it trickles down to county regions and then counties and then towns, it's all population based. So the actual figure that I was given at the conference last week that Georgetown could expect in the first year was under $1,300. And so the towns then have the responsibility of deciding, are they going to keep it and do their own efforts to alleviate the opioid crisis, or do we opt out and our money goes back to the region? I am going to put a question out to the planning group, which in our region, it's 3 counties. It's Gilpin and Clear Creek and Jefferson County. So you got 2 small ones and 1 giant one. And what we tried to make sure got expressed at the conference last Thursday was Jefferson County has abundant resources, but they're strangely located. They're not, I mean, the folks that live in the west side of Jefferson County are about as remote as we are. They have to go just as far to get to any of their treatment centers, their kind of halfway house kind of rehab centers. You know, it makes it difficult for all of the rural parts, and just keeping things in mind, since they will have larger representation, they'll have a larger chunk of funds, and just don't lose the voices of the two small counties and the towns. So as you may recall, when we signed on with the memorandum of understanding, the county has a seat at the table, and the towns within Clear Creek County will have a seat at the table, but just one at a time. They're gonna rotate that by year, and the first year is gonna be Idaho Springs. So I went to the conference just to make sure that when it comes to be our turn, we know what's going on. We don't have to get a crash course in where they've been so far. So, but by the end of July, we have to tell them whether we're going to opt in and keep that $1,200 and some change, or whether we're going to opt out and have it revert back to the region. I'm gonna see if by reverting back to the region, it could stay within the county. I don't know. But anyway, just for reference points, the amount that Idaho Springs would get was somewhere in the $4,600 range. And the amount that Silver Plume gets, as being the smallest, was under $500. If you stay in and you decide to use it, make use of it yourself, you have the reporting responsibilities as
That's
well.
my question, how much reporting you have to do, because you can spend a lot of
Yes,
time.
you can. That's a lot of bandwidth.
Yes.
So, and it's not a lot of money. What could I'm trying to envision what you could possibly do with that amount of money that makes any kind of significant impact. I mean, a mailing to everybody in the city might cost that much, just to let them know, what we're trying to do. I'm not sure that's a significant way to spend it, so.
County Public Health, have any strong feelings on that? General agency within the office within the county. I mean, to they see it collectively to, as a positive, to try to provide a program here exclusively for her. With cooling inventory.
I'm not sure where the county stands. It wasn't really that kind of, in-depth, everybody states what their intentions are. It was more intro, here's how it's gonna be distributed, here's I was paying more attention to what Georgetown would get them. And then, I figure more will be revealed as they've been in on the planning. George Marlin's been, a very large part of the planning group that's been putting this together. And this is region 19, I believe is its number. And from the sounds of it, this region is much further along in the planning stages than many of the other regions are. Trying to make sure that when the money actually starts dropping, you can start moving on it and not have to sit around and start the discussion of what you would do. So.
And I agree, 1,400 is a drop in the bucket and isn't gonna go very far, but from my experiences, several years I've been here, our residents for various reasons, don't go down the hill to take advantage of opportunities that are there for good reason. And I can see us being buried if Jeffco has the runners. So that's why I was curious if the county was, trying to, if you had heard anything about.
Well, meaning like, are they trying to start up their own mental health clinic?
No, if the county was just able to provide more services in a more geographically available region than us turning around and saying, sorry, you had this opioid problem, go down to Lakewood, go down to, West Denver or whatever. Because they can't for obvious reasons sometimes.
Right.
And so if we could provide a service more localized.
Right now, what they've got at the wellness clinic in Idaho Springs is a van where somebody is available to at least refer them to where the closest services are. Yes, but, yeah, I hear you.
They're in the van.
They don't, the van sits. The wellness center is actually still trying to work out, getting the additional tenants in there. And so maybe that's part of it. I'm gonna have some phone calls with George Marlin and see where they are and what they're thinking and all that, but, we won't be worse off than we already are. And hopefully, maybe the money that comes as a region might assist in getting those tenant spaces filled so that we've actually got some counseling that we could send people to on the roundabout if they can't get there any other way.
Okay.
So, yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. So, any other questions about that? Anyway, we'll have to put it on the agenda by the end of July, so either of the two meetings, we'll figure this out, what we can pull together, but, we'll have to, make the formal action of either opting in or opting out. So, okay, and that is all I had. Anybody else have anything? Okay. All right, is there a motion to adjourn? Okay,
I'll second.
it is 7:01, it's been moved and seconded to adjourn. We will then go into work session, all in favor say aye. Any opposed?
Is Deanne gonna vote?
I'm trying to, I had a hard time getting it to unmute, but I agree.
Okay, that was an aye vote. Okay, motion passes. All right, on to.
So, wait a minute.
Okay,
I'm gonna end this Zoom.
okay.